Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyaye Kesavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavacha Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyaye Kesavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavacha Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyaye Kesavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavacha Namo Namaha Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavacha Namo Namaha Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyaye Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi Satchavacha Namo Namaha Tulsi Maharaj.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, 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 Jaya Guru Deva. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parikacharya Stotara, His Divine Grace, Abhay Chananavinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya, BBT Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Seko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Ki Jai, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Shri Gangamai Ki Jai, Shri Jamunamai Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from the 10th canto, and this is chapter 64, text 7, and I'm going to actually read 7 and 8. Prapacha vidvana pitanidanam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavarenya rupo Devotamam dvam ganayami nunam Papracha vidvana pitanidanam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvama bhagavarenya rupo Devotamam dvam ganayami nunam Prapracha vidyanva pitanidanam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavarenya rupo Devotamam tvam ganayami nunam Prapacha vidyan apitanidanam Janesu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavarenya rupo Devotamam tvam ganayami nunam Prapracha vidvana pitanidanam Kastvam vikyapayitum mukunda Mahabhagavarenya rupo Devotamam tvam ganayami nunam Prapachavidvam davitan nidanam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavanenyarubo Devotam dvam ganayamem nununam Prapacha vidvana pitanidayam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavanenyarupo Devotamam tvam ganayami nunam Prapacha vidvana pitanidanam Janeshu vikyapayitum mukunda Kastvam mahabhagavanenyarupo Devotamam tvam ganayami nunam Prapacha, he asked, Vidvan, well aware, Api, although, Tat, of this, Nidanam, the cause, Janashu, among people in general, Vikyapaitam, to make it known, Mukunda, Lord Krishna, Ka, who, Tvam, you, Mahabhaga, O fortunate one, Varenya, excellent, Rupa, whose form, Deva Uttanam, an exalted demigod, Tvam, you, Ganayami, I should consider, Nunam, certainly. Lord Krishna, translation, Lord Krishna understood the situation, but to inform people in general, he inquired as follows. Who are you, O greatly fortunate one? Seeing your excellent form, I think you must surely be an exalted demigod. Please repeat, Lord Krishna understood the situation. But to inform people in general, he inquired as follows. Who are you, O greatly fortunate one? Seeing your excellent form, I think you must surely be an exalted demigod. And there's one little purport from Jiva Goswami. Krishna had freed him from the lizard body. Mukunda, O greatly fortunate one. His good fortune is described. You have a fine form with great beauty. I think you must be the best of devatas. Nunam indicates conjecture. So this is also text 8, and we can read along together, perhaps. Is it there? Dasamimam va katamena karmana samprapito shadararha subhadra atam am akami vipatsatam no yanmanya sena shanmam atrivaktum. Translation, by what past activity were you brought to this condition? It seems you did not deserve such a fate, O good soul. We are eager to know about you, so please inform about yourself, if, that is, you think this the proper time and place to tell us. Om Gyana Tanmandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Uminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Sunyavadi Paschadate Shatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhir Krishnadas Goswaminiti Namine Namaham Sanikashaya Prabhupada Prayate Sudri Dasudi Nisyamantasha Bhaktivadine. Good morning. Thank you for your tolerance. I'll just say in advance that for the last week or so, it's been a bit intense and a little discombobulating, and I'm just trying to gather myself after the events, and it's still going on with some austerities in the Griha and at the temple. But I feel like everything is becoming normalized, so I'm trying to be extremely enthusiastic and grateful that we are all here and we're safe and everything's going on nicely. So, and this particular pastime, which I've heard about so many times just from devotees over there, probably I would say this pastime is something I've heard about more frequently because of the message that it conveys when, and we'll hear about it. I think everybody knows this pastime, but you know, the whole idea or concept that, well, first and foremostly, time, place, and circumstance, doing things and acting accordingly due to time, place, and circumstance. And also, particularly, we know that he's in the well, and he'll tell the story because of a minor infraction which was unforeseen by him, but due to time, place, and circumstance, that situation was sort of blown out of proportion and misconstrued as something that it actually wasn't, right? So I've heard about this pastime many times over the years, and Krishna, in this particular, the last verse, you know, he's speaking to this exalted personality who he, you know, he himself came to take out of this precarious circumstance, living entity in a well. He himself came to, you know, be the savior. I mean, he does that in many instances throughout the Bhagavatam, we know. Gajendra Mokshana and just so many pastimes. And in this particular case, he's asking this personality, who he can see is an exalted person, a devata, you know, he knows what the situation is. He specifically says, please tell us why you're in this circumstance. If that is, you think this the proper time and place to tell us, right? So in this verse, in my eyes, Krishna is directly espousing the importance, the great importance of conveying things in the proper time, place, and circumstance. We can see just yesterday about the proper time, place, and circumstance. And, you know, this is a very hit close to home circumstance, but, you know, I heard about the harrowing ordeal of Mother Kamalini. Hopefully she's watching and she's recovering from her traumatic episode. If you can imagine coming to the temple and it's dark and the rain stopped, but, you know, in different areas around our region, there's was treacherous happenings, treacherous pockets. And Mother Kamalini, in her earnestness to make it early, make it to program, give the class, And somehow or other, by Krishna's will, Apurva wasn't ready and didn't come with her. Apurva Prabhu, who we know is always the one that's here early. He's always the one that comes early. He always very eager to come early. But somehow or other, Kamalini, speeding, hit a wall of water. The car immediately starts filling up with water, because if you're partially or mostly submerged, the vehicle's submerged, it's going to immediately start filling up. It's not an airtight pod. Somehow or other, in that time, place, and circumstance, although it was a great shock, I mean, if you can imagine this, it was a great shock. How can you think clearly when the car, you hit something you don't expect, you know? We've all probably been in car accidents. You hit something you don't expect, but instead of just hitting a deer or a car hitting you, this time the car's filling up with water. But somehow or other, she has the presence of mind to hit even though this is an electric car, to hit the button to get the window down. If the car was completely submerged, there would have been no way she would have been able to push against the water, push the doors open against the water. There would have been no way. She would have been trapped, right? She somehow had the presence of mind in that split second to push the button, to have the window come down so she could somehow escape throughout the window. It sounds like something out of a movie, you know. 72-year-old woman in sari escapes out of the window of a car to swim. You know, she's being thrown. It's dark. She doesn't know which direction she's in. I saw with my own eyes, Dimmicks Mill Road was part of the river at that point. There was no demarcation of the road. It was all down. It was fast, very rapid flowing river coming down the road. And somehow or other, she escaped. And even though the river was extremely wide, probably as wide as the Jamuna at that point, I mean, from the bank to the bank, it was, you know, she was tossed about, she was swept down the river further down, because she hit the wall of water up near where the waterfall is, where the dam is, and the plant. So it was quite a long way for her to be swept downstream. Somehow or other, I don't know if she grabbed onto a log or somehow she made her way into someone's yard, right? And then, you know, she stood there for a while completely disoriented. She didn't know what had happened, what she was doing, you know, where she was practically, you know. There's no lights on the Dimmicks Mill Road there. And finally, figured out she was near a fence, and she hopped the fence, and she broke part of the fence, and she got to the car, or to the house of somebody, some stranger, who just so happened to be awake at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Just so happened this elderly woman was awake. And, you know, Kamalini's knocking on the back door because doesn't know what else to do. She lost her phone, her wallet, her keys. She's lost every japa. Everything's gone in the car. Everything's gone. She doesn't know where the car is. And this woman opens the door and brings her inside and, you know, gives her a shower, you know, escorts her to the hot shower. Mother Kamalini was, you know, completely shivering and gives her a change of clothes, new shoes, you know, so gives her a comfortable place to rest. This is the world we live in, is minute by minute. Minute by minute. We don't know what's going to happen minute by minute. We have no idea. We're not in control. We have no clue of what's ahead. No clue. You know, we don't know if the next hour we're going to have a heart attack and leave our body. We don't know these things, right? So Krishna, you know, he's bringing this forth, you know, this concept of time, place, circumstance, Time, place, circumstance. Prabhupada always was talking about proper time, place, circumstance. You know, trying to inculcate us with those things because, you know, we're you know, speaking for myself, we're you know, our minds are we're always ruminating, we're speculating, we're overthinking, we're you know, thinking about later, we're lamenting about the past, we're, you know, we've got our to-do list we've got to do, and oh my gosh, and I can personally say my to-do list is, you know, it's a mile long. I mean, there's like the burner, the front burner, there's the back burner, there's the side burners, there's the extra stove in the back with a whole new set of burners, you know, so there's always something there. So to have that presence of mind, to be present in the moment, be present in the now, to actually like focus on the now. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for those of us who live on this planet and in this age of Kali Yuga. You know, we're always being harassed by the threefold miseries, right? Adi Bodhik, Adi Daivik, Adi Atmik, and, you know, a lot of times all at once. And, you know, our mind and, you know, so many things. We're always being poked and prodded. It's very difficult to be present in that moment, to be here now. It's hard to be here now, right? Although I will say, when we're doing, you know, we're performing devotional service, which you know, I don't think I've read it, but I'm sure that's why Prabhupada gave us this process of bhakti and devotional service, you know, so we can obviously chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We can chant, we can try to pull that tendency, you know, to be here, there, and everywhere, speculating, you know, the chitta, moving to try to consolidate, try to draw in, you know, all of our personal resources, our energy, our mind, you know, when we're performing devotional service or we're trying to please the Lord, you know, that's our one way we can focus. We can actually tune in, and we can think, okay, because it's all timed, you know, most of the time. Sometimes things aren't, you know, maybe garland making, you know, Krishna Priya was just saying, takes 8 hours to make these jasmine garlands. You know, sometimes people are a little bit faster, but it's such a painstaking service, for instance, right? And there's many others. Sometimes we're doing a service, or maybe not a service, a personal chore or act that maybe we don't really want to do. So what are we doing? If we're doing something we don't really want to do, we're thinking about what we do want to do. What can I do later? And then, you know, the mind wants to go there. So then you're not really thinking about what's in front of you sometimes, right? The mind is so fickle. It's hard to pin down. And we can't really, we can't expect to do that very easily without a very strict sadhana, you know, very, very strict, not strict, very relishable japa, you know, connection with Krishna. And a big thing that, you know, I see a lot of, and I personally shy away from very strongly, is the taking of only prasadam. You know, that's a big one, as far as bringing the mind, bringing the consciousness into a focusable state, is having that, it's kind of like a shell or an armor, only prasadam, you know, because when you eat like Duryodhana's, in Duryodhana's kitchen, you eat things that someone cooked, you don't know what their consciousness is. You eat those things and makes the mind wicked, makes it a little crazy. You know, your focus shifts. You can't, bring it in, draw it in. You can't do that with, eating karmi grains. I mean, I know that sounds fanatical or whatever, but it's true. I mean, I've experimented with it, numerous times. And if we want to have that one-pointed focus and determination in our practice, in our bhakti yoga practice, in our lives, as we interact with others. I mean, we all have had experiences where you might be talking to somebody, a non-devotee, and they're all over the place. They can't. We had somebody recently on Harinam, and even though we were chanting the Maha Mantra, and somebody, group was following, that person, and it was written on our sign on the Harinam, which I was standing there holding and pointing to. This person wasn't even able to focus enough to chant those few syllables. That person was kind of just probably, or just, that's there, intoxicated, but also just not even able to, but they were in love with this chanting, so it would seem reasonable that they would at least try to put all of their energy to do, just not able, mind blown out. Intoxication's a whole other can of worms, sugar, I mean, I'm just going to say it, things like too much sugar. Who do you see eating too much sugar and then they, they're all over the place. Okay. But, there's many, it's, there's these things, there's these trips, your mind can be steady, it's going. But, something flips it, and then you're off kilter. And that can happen with too little sleep. It can happen with, for me, it's these sort of an overload of, everything all at once. Sometimes it's just hard to focus on what needs to happen right that second. It's hard because maybe 5 things need to happen that second, But the time, place, and circumstance that now Krishna himself, I love this verse because he's getting down to the nitty-gritty here. For time, place, and circumstance, we always, as bhakti yoga practitioners, must try to have that presence of mind to be in that moment and do those things as, we see is the prioritize, right? And we'll hear about King Riga, who, just happenstancely, it was in Adi Baudik moment where a cow that he donated wanders off. And, so there's not really, everything's not in our control, right? And even our mind's not in our control sometimes. It's a fact, Sometimes the mind's just, but if we really do these things that Prabhupada has given us, take prasadam, associate with the sadhus, read, rest. Prabhupada said health is first. Health is first, then chanting. Because who can chant really absorbing rounds? Who can chant nicely with, 2 hours of sleep? It's not really, well, you're a Paramahamsa. It's not really that easy to do, if you're, if you're fully engaged and you have all these things, it's a difficulty that we all face. And in the time, place, and circumstance that we have right now and ongoing, each moment by moment, moment by moment. You know, surrender is a process minute by minute. Because if you're surrendered, right? But then, and you're always surrendered, or you always feel like you're surrendered. But, you know, something can switch in a minute, and you know, the mind can take you to another space because it's justified, because you're so, oh, I'm surrendered. You know, I'm here, I'm doing this, I'm you know, I'm not going anywhere. But the more you, I mean, we know the more we try to like really hunker down, the more things want to poke, you know, the more outside, the more influences, the more the mind wants to, you know, take over, the more, because, you know, that's our, that's actually Maya's mechanism for our own purification, you know, or Krishna's mechanism, whatever, however you want to say. That's the purificatory process, is having to constantly jerk the mind back into place, and knowing with the on the intelligence platform, or thinking about it from the intelligence platform, that okay, that is the right thing to do, not that, even though that seems way more attractive right now in this time, place, and circumstance. The time, place, and circumstance requires this, and maybe this isn't what you really want to do, but it's what we must do. And it's a tapasya, you know. This isn't a process for the faint of heart. You know, I've told some persons that have, you know, sometimes moved into the ashram. Yeah, I want to move in. Okay, well, it's not going to be as easy as you think, you know. Everybody's got this idea that they're just full-time and everything's all roses and jasmine and it's all beautiful all the time. You know, it's not like that. I mean, this is still the material world, and we still have our minds and our bodies and other people's minds and bodies and you know, all the things. So, you know, we have to remember this time, place, circumstance at all minutes. And the best way to do that is, even in your mind, even maybe you're not chanting on beads, I found, is to, one, ask, what would Prabhupada do? You know, what would Prabhupada do? We're trying to emulate this example in our lives, you know. Prabhupada's the foremost example, the founder Acharya. We're trying to emulate, we're trying to follow in his footsteps, we're trying to do what he's prescribed, like the expert doctor. And just keeping that in mind, that it's for our own benefit, we can avoid those pitfalls. We can avoid those sabotages. Krishna helps the king out of the well because really it's not justified that he's there. We'll see, right? It's not really justified. But it's a lesson, because, you know, one little marble rolls out and we forget to get it, right? You know, like that in the kitchen, or the deities, you know, one little thing is out of place. One little thing. Radharani doesn't have a bindi. That's required. One little tiny thing, you know, and then there's a flaw. It's a flaw, you know, that we have to make up. You know, we have to figure it out. So it's so important to just be present in the now. I'm saying this for myself. It's very important to be just present in the now. And Krishna's working everything out, because if you were not present in the now, we're thinking about all this stuff, really that's a real controller mentality. Oh, how can I wrangle this, and what can I do about that? You know, that's the overarching theme, is that we're trying to control. But if we're present in the now, we can actually see that we're not at all in control. Not even a little bit. Krishna's in control, and we have to let him be in control. And it's such a relief that we're not in control. Such a relief. You know, he's doing what he's doing fortunately, everybody in the Bhakti Yoga process kind of knows that on some level. So when things go haywire, Krishna's in control. What can we do? Although we can't just put it off like that. Like Prabhupada said the time somebody got into a car wreck and said, it was Krishna's arrangement. Prabhupada said, no, it was your stupidity. Because, we needed to have that minute by minute present of mind. That person did whatever he did and didn't turn out how it should have. So just message from Krishna, be here now, be present now, be invested in the now, because that's our best return on investment is when we're invested in that moment. I think we have like half a second. Prabhu? Yeah. Chanting Hare Krishna. Yeah. Yeah, if we come. Yeah. 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 It's like he just picked her up and put her over there. Super soul. Yeah. Yeah. One day recently I was taking somebody to an appointment and we were talking and I kind of was missing the exit and I had to speed up. I was in the Tesla. That thing goes super fast, really fast. Speed up and cut across all the lanes to the exit. Somehow or other, I was just doing it, but this person I was with was shouting expletives. And then they were, lamenting that they weren't saying, Krishna, 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 like you were saying, It was just... Maha Mantra ki jai. If we chant one round of purely of the Maha Mantra, it's said we can hear Krishna's flute. That's our goal.
Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Kanvandam Maravindanalayatacham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Kamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti pasyanti panti kayanti chiram naganti ananda chinmaya sadhu jala vigrahasya govindam ani purusham amaham bhajami 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 govindam.
जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे कृष्ण जय वृंदावन मदन मोहन श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरी गोवर्धन श्याम कुंद कुंद गिरी कालिंदी जमुना जय जय महावन कालिंदी महावन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय राधे कृष्ण जय वृंदावन केशी गाट बंसी बात द्वादशा कानन केशी गाट बंसी द्वादशा गान जहाँ सब लीला कैलो श्री नंद नंदन जहाँ सब श्री नंदन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो कृष्ण जय वृंदावन मदन मोहन श्री नंद जशोदा जय जय गोपागन श्री नंद जशोदा जय गोपागन श्री दामादि जय जय धेनुवस्तागन श्री दामादि जय धेनुवस्तावन बोलो जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन बोलो जय जय वृंदावन श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जय वृषभानु जय कीर्तिदा सुंदरी जय वृषभ जय पूर्णमासी जय अभिरा नगरी जय Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Vrindavan Jai Jai Gopishvara Vrindavan Mai Jai 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 Krishna Sakha Bhatu Dvijaraj Jai Jai Dvijaraj Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Vrindavan Jai Ram Ghat Jai Rohini Nandan Jai Ram Ghat Jai Jai Vrindavasi Jata Jani Jan Jai Vrindavasi Jata Jan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Vrindavan Jai Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Jai Dvija Patni Bhakti Te Jahar Pilo Govinda Charan Jabdi Jara Govinda Charan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Sham Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Rasa Lila Sarva Manoram Jaya Jaya Rasa Bolo Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jaya Radhe Jaya Vrindavan Jai Jai Ujjvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Jai Jai Ujjvala Rasa Parakiya Bhave Jaya Bhajate Prachar Bhaktiya Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Shri Janava Pada Padma Gauriya Samran Shri Jana Pada Padma Gauriya Samran Dina Krishna Dase Koi Nama Sankirtan Dina Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Radhe Jai Krishna Jai Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Bolo Jai Jai Shri Vrindavadham ki Shri Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami ki Gaur Pranandi. All glories to Radha Krishna, the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the presiding deities of Vrindavan, Shri Govinda, Gopinath and Madan Mohan. All glories to Shri Shamkund, Radhakund, Govardhan Hill and the Yamuna River Kalandi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshi Ghat, Mansi Ghatri, and the 12 forests of Vraja. All these places, the son of Nanda, Shri Krishna performed all his pastimes. All glories to Krishna, for divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys, headed by Sri Rama. All glories to the cows and calves of Braja. All glories to Radha, divine father and mother, Brishmanu and the beautiful Kritida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Braja. All glories to Gopeshwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Nandaka. All glories to Ramghat, where Lord Ram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmana. All glories to the wives of Kaliya Chartan. Oh, they abandoned the feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where Jasa dance of Shri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Sham. All glories to the divine Rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the mellows of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is promulgated in Vrija by Shri Krishna in the form of divine Parkiya Bhava. Remembering the lotus feet of Nanda, concert Shri Janva Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. Shri Ki Jai, Shri Brijadham Ki Jai.
They have done so many experiments with submerging vehicles into ponds like that on purpose in order to find out exactly how to get released from the car and be able to swim to safety. And I saw a video that I'm mentioning this because it may be very helpful, where a person, what is recommended is that one goes to the back glass, the glass in the back of the car, and with a gadget, like a hammer or something, break that glass, which is actually designed for that kind of thing. Or else with the feet, with the shoes, with the feet, kicking it out of place so that we can actually escape through that back window to safety. So I thought I would mention this because who knows what can happen. Yeah.
Chaitodarbana Marjanam Bhavamahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paramvijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gladashu Daraya Varanam Gadgarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Prabhashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Aslishyavapadamritam Manastumam Adarshanam Marmahata Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lampado Matprananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes. Welcome home. Your birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction to humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases